And I am joined with any pro wrestler from Indiana, Kerry Johnson. He's joining me right now. Good evening, Kerry.
Hey, how's it going, Kenny?
I'm doing real good, sir, and thank you for being on the show this evening.
Hell, thanks for having me, man.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Talk a little bit about yourself and how did your wrestling career got started.
Wow, man, it seems like yesterday, but it's really been a long time ago. For me, it all started really in 2001, right here in Muncie, Indiana. There was a promotion by the name of International Pro Wrestling, and they had a training facility in Eaton, Indiana. And my wife's grandmother actually hipped me to all the information, and went there, and I met a man by the name of Russell Love, him and Brian Menaker. They actually told me to run the ropes, and I did a couple of bumps, and they said, hell, if you like it, come back. So I did a couple of bumps. Everything worked out good, and next thing you know, I'm training, and ever since, it's been a hell of a ride.
And do you remember the first match you ever had?
Yes. It's easy to remember your first match because you mess up more than a little bit in it. My first match was in Yorktown, Indiana, at the Buck Creek Festival, a little small building. I mean, it was so small the crowd can literally stick their feet on the top of the apron. That's how small the building was. My first match was against I can't remember his last name, but it was against Kraus. He went as Kid Zero, and we faced each other, and it was fun. But if I look at the match now, I'll cry because there was so many spots where we could have done a lot better, but at that time, of course, being green, we just went with the flow.
I mean, I could definitely understand first time being being in front of people at the countless of months of training and stuff. I mean, did you find yourself being nervous before you hit the curtain?
The funny thing about it is I was not nervous. Me and him both was sitting there counting the matches down, like, oh, my God, we're so ready. In the back, Bobo Brazil Jr. was back there, and he was telling us some old WWE stories, and, he was kind of getting us pumped and amped. But in the whole process of getting pumped and amped, we forgot certain spots that we put together before we started. But when we got out there, we just fed off the energy of the crowd, and, hey, it turned out great. So, hey, as long as the crowd loved it, I liked it, I guess, too.
When it comes to being a character inside the ring, do you like being the baby face, the one that gets cheered, or you like being the bad guy being booed?
Oh, I got to be the heel. I mean, I know it's a common word you hear from guys because they just love. It's easier to get fans pissed at you than it is to cheer sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I work both, whether it's tag or singles. But when you're a heel, it really shows how good you really are, because not only usually you're the one getting your butt kicked for most of the match, but at most times you get in the ring with certain promotions where they have guys who are green and they put you in there because you got more experience in the ring. So it's your job to sort of build their character up. So if you're a good heel, you definitely get more work just because they know that your work is good. They know that you can get in the ring and you can walk and talk, and you can really put a match together and tell a story. So if you're a good heel, oh, man, you can go places in this business, especially the indies.
It's been a long time coming for the African American to pursue their career as a wrestler. I mean, you can take it back to Soul Man Rocky Johnson, and fast forward, it's good to see African Americans not only given an opportunity to be in professional wrestling, but to be successful. I mean, what is your take on how you think the African American community embraced professional wrestling?
For me, my family, I'm from the South, Savannah, Georgia. Of course, I live in Indiana now, but, my family, they always asking for videos. To me, I never thought being a wrestler would make my family so happy. I have cousins who have gotten their degrees and become, got their doctorates and their bachelor degrees, but they're the ones that they're so happy that I'm going for my dream. And, to hear my family say those things about me, it's really good. And then as far as the community, it's even better because I have so many friends who wants to be involved. You know, they want to get the training. They want to travel with me. And then individuals I don't even know, you know, that sees me at the shows. You know, I love talking to anyone, but I definitely love talking to another individual, you know, my own race that just wants to be a part of it. I just give them advice to just say, hey, you know, do your research before you get in. Don't just sign up for the first place because so many places are about the money. So when you're talking to somebody who's black, you know, even Latino who wants to get in, you know, you just tell them to do their research because, you know, not only if you're not trying to hold your own self up, but you're a standard because sometimes we're looked at differently. You know, they're like, oh, you can't get the job done, or you're not willing to risk as much to go out there. They figure we're just cherry picking, just trying to get to the next step. But I'm a person that I love to get in there and grind, and it doesn't matter if I'm black or not. I'm ready to get in there and grind with somebody.
Me personally, I'm just happy to see that African Americans are given an opportunity more than ever, just to see them at least getting involved. Because normally African Americans, they think, okay, I play basketball, I play football. I mean, wrestling will be the last thing people of our culture will think about. But it's just good to see a Kofi Kingston or a Mark Henry or R-Truth or just to name a few, just to see those guys competing every week and just not just competing but getting opportunities, maybe main events and such. It's good to see.
Mhm. Exactly. I mean, especially someone to look up to. You know, me being a kid when I saw Ron Simmons, you know, Ron Simmons beat Vader to win the WCW heavyweight title. You have no clue what that did to me and my cousins when we watched that match in Savannah, Georgia. It was like, wow, he did it. If he can do it, I can do it. And that's how I look at it.
Oh, the same Ron Simmons who was inducted to the Hall of Fame a little bit, I think it was earlier this year. And
Yeah.
I know people, the younger fans will remember him for one word, damn. But he had a pretty damn good career. I mean,
Sir.
you pointed out the highlight, him winning that title. I mean, first ever African American to win a World Heavyweight Championship. I
Yeah,
mean,
the major promotion, exactly.
in a major promotion nonetheless. That was a big night, not just for him, but for the whole African American community. So that's something that's that's a moment that people are gonna remember many years to come. So it still be remembered to this very day. Who do you consider as influences in your wrestling career?
Well, right off the bat, you know, I look at definitely individuals like Bad News Brown, you know, a guy who was able to bring his judo background into professional wrestling and make it work. You know, definitely Ron Simmons because, hey, you know, when I look at Ron Simmons, I saw a brother who was just big, powerful. He was able to get in there with anybody and go hole for hole. But me being a catch wrestling fan, I tell you, I love Frank Gotch. You know, he's just one of those guys, you know, fought in Japan. You know, he was all about, let me just get my hands on you, and I'm going to try to make you submit and just break your spirit. You know, another person is Regal and Finley. You know, just their true in-ring ability to just go hole for hole with an individual is just awesome. But, of course, me growing up in the South, watching WCW and NWA, I was a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. You know, Dusty Rhodes, if you will, you know, just coming out there, a guy of his size, you know, just being able to get in there with Ric Flair and go an hour. You know, who can say, hey, I'm pushing 300 and I can go an hour in wrestling today? I don't think anybody can say that, but those are definitely a few that comes to mind that definitely influenced me.
I mean, you when you think charisma, you might as well put Dusty Rhodes' his face in the dictionary. I mean,
Exactly.
that dude can talk for minutes, hours, days, years. I mean, whatever came out of his mouth, you listen. You know that accent of his, the son of a plumber. I mean, it was just that dude. That dude was meant to wrestle. That dude was meant to be a performer in that ring, and he was fun to watch, most definitely. Um,
Exactly. You know, so many people are concerned with you got to have six packs and muscles. out of your butt, to be a superstar. I think it's all about the athleticism in the individual themselves. Don't judge a book by its cover, and that's why I definitely love Dusty Rhodes.
So do you have any upcoming matches or promotions you want to promote there, Kerry?
Oh, yes. Definitely I've been wrestling in Cincinnati for a while. My last match with them actually was in July, I believe, or June. Had a match against their heavyweight champion, Ryan Stone. In that match, I suffered an injury, actually. I injured my neck. And him and Regulator definitely put the boots to me. And in the whole instance, I went over the top rope and landed right on my face. So it's something I feel every day that I get up. So I've been out of action since then because of that. But, thanks to my good friends, Jordan, Lachey, and Ice, and Nerd Thug, they definitely helped me. But, hey, I've been resting up, and they have a show this Saturday, actually, in Price Hill Rec Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, on Hawthorne Avenue. And I'll definitely be there because I got something to settle with Ryan Stone. It's time for Ace Mob to come back, and I think it's time for me to add another title to that trophy case, the Elite All-Pro Wrestling title. So, hey, all the fans that's in Cincinnati listen to this, I know you're a popular radio guy, so you probably got people everywhere listening to this. So, hey, Ryan Stone, this is my notorious warning, son. I'm coming for that belt.
There you go, man. Strong words from a man who was destined for revenge and retribution. Kerry Johnson joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. What do you consider as the highlight of your wrestling career thus far?
Easy choice there. I had a match with Bobo Brazil Jr. 2 years ago in Chesterfield, Indiana. There was a lot of people who were doubting me. I won't say names, but in this area, they were saying that, I wasn't good enough. I couldn't cut the mustard. And so I think, in a way, they gave me that match sort of for me to be a sacrificial lamb for a legend, Bobo Brazil Jr., son of a legend, Bobo Brazil. And I got in that ring, and we went to hell and back. He dished it out. I received it. I dished it out. He took it. It was a great match, and I think it was a learning experience for me, because I'm a person that I lost confidence in myself, when you're constantly getting stuck facing guys who you feel are below you. I'm not trying to knock them, but everybody's drive is to get better. So when you feel like you're taking on guys who's just beginning and you got to help them, you feel that your skills diminish. So when I got that opportunity, I took it. And, in the back of my mind, I just had to clear all that doubt out. And when we got in that ring, and at the end of that match, I literally had tears coming out of my eyes. I looked at my wife and my kids in the crowd, and I had to fight it because I didn't want to break the whole face thing. But when I got backstage, a lot of my friends knew what that meant to me because they knew that, hey, this is something he's been asking for since '02, and here it is, that fight happened in 2010, and finally I said, hey, if I can do this, I can do anything I want. I just have to get the confidence, and that night I definitely got my confidence back.
It must feel good to prove people wrong, to show people that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you do want to consider this as a career. It must be, it's not an easy walk, but the outcome of it is so rewarding. And
Exactly.
and I know there's 3 words for anyone that to say when you reach that point. I told you so.
Exactly. That's real good. That's a good one, Kenny.
So, you being not just a wrestler, but a wrestling fan, what is your take on the wrestling that you see on television right now with the likes of a WWE or Impact, and now Ring of Honor is on television as well? What's your take on what's going on with the wrestling on television?
Cartoonish. I think, WWE is more about the theatricals instead of the actual feat. It's no longer about, hey, let's get in there, let's have the best match. Now it's all about, hey, let's have a good segment. I mean, you can have a good match on the show, but what will they talk about? They'll talk about the interview. They'll talk about the backstage story thing. I mean, a few weeks ago you had CM Punk and Daniel Bryan in the ring, and they had one of the best matches. What was people talking about? They were talking about the AJ storyline. I'm like, what's going on here? If you want to watch soap opera, turn on NBC and watch some Days of Our Lives. But, I'm a person that I'm not knocking it because hey, everybody wants to get there.
Yes.
I want to get there. Everybody wants to get there. But truly, for me, TNA is really holding themselves back. I mean, there's no way you can have a stacked roster like that and not get more than 2 million people to watch you every week. I mean, think about that for a second. You telling me a kid's cartoon is getting more than you, and you're on a quote-unquote man's channel? I mean, Spike TV is either dropping a ball or TNA's dropping a ball. I mean, it's just too much going on there for these guys to be tanking it every weekend. As far as Ring of Honor, unfortunately, I have satellite, and we don't have their channel yet, but I have watched videos of them. Ring of Honor is definitely the king right now if you're judging them. I mean, their matches, Jesus Christ, those guys give every match. I mean, even the guys at the bottom, and that's the best thing about Ring of Honor, is that you could be at the bottom, and then boom, 2 shows later, you're in the main event, and the crowd is chanting your name. That's what you want. You want to be able to be at the bottom. You want to be like, hey, I'm underneath somebody's toe, but then in a few months, you want to say, hey, I busted my butt. They didn't judge me on how much butt I kissed. They judged me on my talent, me getting in the ring, me sacrificing, me giving it all, because this is what I want to do. This is the advice you can give to anybody. Doesn't matter how tall you are. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter if you're from the South, if you're from overseas. If you got what it takes to make it in this business, that's all it takes. The end of the story. Ring of Honor right now is the best.
I feel like I'm talking to a motivation speaker right now. I mean, I feel motivated myself by just listening to you right now.
It's a good night.
I definitely have to agree. If people want to say what's the best company, if you want to focus on wrestling, then most definitely it's Ring of Honor. I mean, I just been watching it since I moved here to Kentucky. I didn't get to watch it in Georgia. And these are some people that I've never heard of. Okay, and there's other guys I am familiar with, Hoss and Benjamin, Jay Lethal, but Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, and some brothers out there, Caprice Coleman, Cedric Alexander. I mean, they show you that no shenanigans. You just go out there, perform in the ring, and it's just fun to watch. And it's good to see that Ring of Honor. It just shows that you don't necessarily need the big names. You just want people to perform. And WWE, I mean, I'm a fan of them no matter what, but at times it can be cartoonish, and even when you have a good match in the WWE, it just gets sidetracked by something else. And and as for Impact, I mean, you got the talent and all, but you're on a men's network and you can't even expand your ratings. You can't even move it up a notch. I mean, hell, reruns of TV shows get better ratings than TNA. They call themselves a major company. I mean, it's just something to think about. Let me ask you this, Kerry. What would your advice be to anyone out there that wants to pursue their career as a professional wrestler? What would your advice be?
Right off the bat, do your research. I mean, don't get stuck with the first place you see in a magazine or a newspaper article. Hey, training. Because first thing they do, they just want your money. I mean, I love IPW and everything, but let's face it, when I got there, it was a building and it was a ring. The end. They had a restroom.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, it helps. You gotta get out. Oh, anyway, but there was no true feel of training. I mean, hey, no weights. There was no mats out of the ring, so you can work on mat wrestling. It was just a ring. And don't get me wrong, it's a great start for me. I got out and I did something, and I'm bettering myself since. But I just feel all these young cats today, so many people distracted with MMA, and between wrestling and MMA. But in the back of my mind, if you're going to go to a place, do your research. Go there, look around, see if it's good for you. Don't just do it because they got four corners and ropes. Because there's other places. Drive. Don't just go around the corner. Drive 3 hours. Drive 2 hours. I mean, go for your dream if you really want to do this. I mean, don't wait till you get to my age and then all of a sudden put all your might into it. You're young, out of high school. You don't have any responsibilities. Go for it. Don't be afraid, because right now I can tell you, there's other people out there and they're not afraid. They're going for it, and they're the ones that are successful. And we're the ones watching them on TV each and every week. That's the best advice I can give them.
Again, I'm joined with Kerry Johnson here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. So much insight, and he's a brother. I mean, what can I say? I'm a brother myself. It's good to see a brother such as yourself out there performing and entertaining, and like I said earlier, man, just the African American community, just to embrace professional wrestling. It's a good look. Now, if you can have a dream match with anyone, dead or alive, past or present, young or old, who would your dream opponent be?
Oh, man, I got so many people. But right off the bat, my dream match would have been with a Japanese wrestler by the name of, right off the bat, it's so many. But if I had to pick one, it has to be Antonio Inoki. I just love the way he wrestled. Plus, he was a guy he runs his own promotion there. I can't remember their name right off the top of my head. But Chono as well. But if I can choose between the two, it'd be Antonio Inoki. I saw him have a match with Ric Flair in Korea. It was in front of, I believe, 250,000 people. And the way those two command that stage, that's what you want. They had the audience in the palm of their hands. When everyone's fixated on you, and it don't even matter who's next to them, you accomplish your feat of being a good wrestler. And that's why I would want a match with Antonio Inoki. But too bad he's retired now, so I can dream on.
250,000 people. I mean,
yeah,
people.
Yeah, I don't think half of the people saw the ring.
Yeah, I would hate to be in the deep bleachers on that particular night. I mean,
binoculars wouldn't help.
Yeah, the binoculars or whatever it is people use these days. It's I think it's cool enough. It's crazy enough. It's hard enough to compete in front of 10, 15 people, but 250,000. That's more than 15 WrestleManias put together, and
exactly.
I mean that's something to brag about. I mean, hell, if I perform in front of that many people, I'll be proud of it. No matter how long, how short the match is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, so before I let you go, Kerry, and again I want to thank you for your time and being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Before I let you go, I ask all guests to do this. It's like a station ID. It's like a voice drop. All you have to do is say your name, and what after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.
Okay, here we go. What's up, everybody? This is Kerry Johnson, the Notorious One, and you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. Get in.
Notorious, and well done, sir. Thank you for your time, man. Best of success goes out to you. Oh, and one more thing. Go ahead and promote your links, man. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to put a plug for my brother's group. I told him I would. Grimy Goons, right here in Muncie, Indiana. Boss Man Lusky, Bar None, and Gin Bottle. But if you like to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Kerry Johnson, Kerry Johnson. So, hey, everyone, get in touch.
Shout out to all those guys as well. And again, thank you for your time. You have a good night, sir.
Yeah, same to you, Kenny. Have fun.
All right, bye-bye. That was Kerry Johnson joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.